Florida, where videos like this have gone viral.
Please hold off. It does not help that Congress, your branch of government, has failed to function as separate as...
Our government does anything about this, then this can happen to anyone. I'm alarmed. We are experiencing a blatant violation of America's system of checks and balances.
A federal judge just called out Trump's deportation scheme, saying it's a long way from the heartland of the law. When even judges appointed by Republicans are questioning the legality of Trump's actions, you know things are getting serious.
It's real. And that's not right.
Republican constituents, however, across the country.
But we are, we're in a time and a place where I don't know, I certainly have not been here before.
The Alien Enemies Act wasn't meant to be Trump's personal deportation machine, but the courtroom drama is nothing compared to the public rage brewing in town halls across red America. The very voters who put Trump back in office are now watching their retirement plans, healthcare, and jobs vanish before their eyes, and they're not staying quiet about it anymore. The orange turd promised to protect them, but instead, he's flushing their futures down the toilet.
We are all afraid. Okay? It's quite a statement.
Yeah, so while Republican senators are saying that they are basically too afraid to say anything negative about Donald Trump out of fear of reprieve.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The scene in Suwanee, Georgia tells you everything you need to know about Trump's crumbling support. Representative Rich McCormick probably woke up that morning thinking he'd face a friendly crowd. After all, this is Trump country, a district that went overwhelmingly red. Instead, he walked into what can only be described as a Republican roast session.
Happy because your life will be in great danger. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Press out, press out.
This goes unchecked.
As another week draws to a close for the Trump administration, a few things stand out. We had arguably two of the best metaphors for the administration happen in real time. There's J.D. Vance and a trophy, and a kid throwing up in the Oval Office as Donald Trump spoke. And the other thing is that because of Trump's policies, Republicans are facing the wrath of their own constituents.
What are you doing to protect us in the 14th district from the damage and extreme hardship of Trump's tariffs?
You should have seen it. McCormick stood there getting absolutely demolished by his own voters. These weren't angry Democrats or political activists shipped in from blue states. These were card-carrying Republicans who've had enough of the MAGA nonsense. The New Republic reported that McCormick was booed and heckled incessantly by people who once supported him and the Republican agenda. One voter straight up asked what McCormick planned to do about the megalomaniac in the White House.
Bad guy back from El Salvador.
Across the country at Republican-held town halls, countless videos have emerged offering a glimpse at the building anger over Donald Trump's sweeping overhaul.
Gutting of Social Security and Medicaid. Wow. Doge gutting our government with a chainsaw approach and the utter destruction and ignoring of our Constitution and rule of law.
Think about that for a second. In a deep red district, constituents aren't just questioning Trump's policies, they're questioning his mental stability. This isn't the kind of thing Republican representatives are used to hearing from their base, but it gets better. When McCormick tried claiming that Medicare and Medicaid eat up 75% of the federal budget, the crowd wasn't having it. People literally shouted, "No, it isn't," as he attempted to justify potential cuts to programs their families rely on. These aren't policy wonks. These are regular folks who know when they're being fed garbage talking points. The real kicker came when McCormick suggested that artificial intelligence could replace hundreds of laid-off CDC employees. The crowd erupted. One constituent asked why Republicans were taking such a radical and extremist and sloppy approach to governance. Again, these aren't progressive activists. These are lifelong Republicans watching their party burn everything to the ground. What we're witnessing is the inevitable result of Republican politicians trying to serve two masters: their increasingly unhinged leader and their increasingly fed-up constituents. They can't keep pretending Trump's ideas make sense when voters are feeling the pain in their wallets and communities. Jonathan Martin from Politico recently spilled some tea on MSNBC's Morning Joe, revealing that many Republican officials are secretly humiliated by Trump and his behavior. These politicians are caught in a trap of their own making. As Martin explained, they don't like it, but they also don't like the left, and they sure as heck don't like being guilted about it, because that's why it's awkward. Translation: they know Trump is a disaster, but they're too scared to say it out loud. The economic fallout is hitting Trump country first and hardest. His tariff tantrums aren't theoretical problems for economists to debate. They're real pain for farmers and small business owners who trusted him to look out for them. Instead of protection, they got punished. The very Americans who believed Trump would be their economic savior are watching their livelihoods circle the drain. And instead of admitting his policies are failing, Trump doubles down while his congressional enablers scramble to defend the indefensible. It's like watching someone insist the Titanic is just taking on a little water while the ship's orchestra plays frantically in the background. The most revealing moment in Suwanee came when constituents suggested taxing billionaires instead of cutting programs regular people depend on. Imagine that, Republican voters in Georgia suggesting the wealthy should pay more taxes. That's like vegans suggesting a barbecue for dinner. It shows just how far the disconnect has grown between Republican leadership and their base. Americans across the political spectrum are worried about the economy and democracy itself. They're watching as promises to protect Social Security and Medicare evaporate, replaced by threats of cuts disguised as reforms. They're seeing how Trump's reckless economic policies are pushing the country toward recession, while he claims everything is fantastic. The cracks in Trump's support aren't just widening, they're becoming canyons. The very people who stood by him through scandals, impeachments, and an attempted insurrection are finally reaching their breaking point. Not because of what he says or tweets, but because his policies are actively harming their families and futures. What we're witnessing is democracy in real time. History shows us that when ordinary folks start yelling at town halls, real change follows. Even in places where Trump won by landslide margins, like McCormick's district, the anger is impossible to ignore. The polling numbers confirm what these town halls reveal. Trump's support is crumbling faster than his spray tan in a rainstorm. The Economist YouGov poll shows major shifts among Hispanics and young voters, precisely the people Donnie Diapers claimed would love his second term. Even Elon Musk's brand has been completely and irrevocably torched, according to Simon Rosenberg. The MAGA facade isn't just cracking, it's shattering like a cheap Trump Tower window.